We were discussing what the promised Messiah rectified the ideas and the beliefs of the ulama of that time and even of this time. Hudur mentioned what he did according to the Quran, how do we understand the Quran. We will go to another point.
Please.
Yes. Say about the life of the Messiah and his coming from heaven. Yes, sir.
Hadhrat Masih Maud has discussed the verse which the non-Ahmadi ulama quoted about the ascent of Hadhrat Muhammad Masih Maud, Hadhrat Masih Awwal, the first Messiah. We begin with that.
No.
First of all, he proved beyond a shadow of doubt that this verse is absolutely misinterpreted. Nowhere in the Holy Quran it is mentioned that God took him to the heavens, to the skies. Nowhere. Then Hazrat Masih Maud claimed that Hazrat Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam speaks of his nuzul, yanzilu. But he does not mention that he was taken up into the heavens, sucked up. Nowhere. It's a very strange thing. The Holy Quran is quiet about his ascent. Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is quiet about his ascent. He only speaks of his nuzul. Now, as far as the word nuzul is concerned, what is the meaning of nuzul? The thing which drops from above down is nuzul, all right. Okay? But when a guest arrives, what is that nuzul? When, I'll quote now the various verses of the Holy Quran, which Masih mentioned in various arguments to prove that the word nuzul does not mean bodily descent of a prophet. For instance, the Holy Quran was Tanzilum min Rabbi Rahim, etc. There are so many verses regarding Tanzil or Nuzul of not only of the Holy Quran but all other books, many other books. Find out who Nuzul wali. Now the argument is, did they descend like this book, coming from heaven? What does it mean? It means anything which comes from God. God is the highest. There is nothing above him. So everything which descends from God has this nuzul. But there is more to it in the Quran, and then when we study the words nuzul used variously in different places in the Quran, then we can clearly understand the true meaning of nuzul. You know, the Holy Quran, speaking of iron ore, says that we made nuzul of iron. Literally, it descended from above down and sank into the earth. While you know, iron is dug out of the earth from below. It never descends from heaven bodily. Does it? Has anybody seen? If somebody says, no, it may have descended sometime before. While the earth was molten, it might have descended. Okay. What about Al-Anam? Have you ever seen Anam descending with rain anytime, anywhere in the world? Yes. خلقكم من نفس واحدة ثم جعل منها زوجها وأنزل لكم من الأنعام ثمانية أزواج وأنزل لكم من الأنعام ثمانية أزواج. Not only one or two, Thamaniyat azwaj he made descend from the heaven. Anzala. Have you ever seen any cattle, sheep, anything?
Maybe by aeroplanes.
But then the Holy Quran goes on to say, Ya bani Adam, qad anzalna alaykum, qad anzalna ilakum, libasan, yuwari sawatikum varisha.
Did you receive it from no, sir. It's from Farna.
Did you go out in the rain and suddenly, saw it descending?
No.
What do you mean? The word nuzul is the same.
No.
वो कहाँ लोहे वाले? Now, لقد أرسلنا رسلنا بالبينات وأنزلنا معهم الكتاب وأنزلنا معهم الكتاب. Rasul is sent. All the prophets were sent. وأنزلنا معهم الكتاب. Book was made to descend from heaven as they appeared. Do you know any book which came from heaven?
No.
Then the Holy Quran speaks of another wonderful thing. وَأَنزَلْنَا الْحَدِيدَ فِيهِ بَاسٌ شَدِيدٌ وَمَنَافِعٌ. And we made hadid descend from heaven. Did they descend literally? Or no? Have you seen hadid?
No.
Okay. Now, this and many other verses refer anzala, but positively and definitely it does not mean bodily descent. But in case of rain, for instance,
Yes, it is coming from.
it comes from heaven, and the word nuzul is also used.
Yes.
So, from the Holy Quran it can be proved that in case of rain which we see with our own eyes descend from the heaven, the word nuzul most often is used for things which do not descend bodily from the heavens. Correct? Now, coming to Jesus Christ and his nuzul. Although we find him mentioned in the hadith, the Holy Quran nowhere mentions the nuzul of Jesus Christ anywhere. Neither ascent nor nuzul. Show me one place. Nowhere. Only one Rasul is mentioned. So if you want to understand the meaning of nuzul in relation to a prophet of God, the only mention we find in the Holy Quran is in application to Hadhrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قد أنزل الله إليكم ذكر رسولا يتلو عليكم آيات الله مبينات ليخرج الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات من الظلمات إلى النور. This is a fascinating thing to observe. No prophet of Allah is mentioned in the Holy Quran to have descended. All are mentioned as irsal, with irsal, except one, Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah. Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah himself prophesied that in future Masih would descend. Right? The same word, Anti. What does he mean? Will he descend in a more glorified manner than he has come himself?
Of course not.
So, Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah has been made to take nuzul, is mentioned as an object of nuzul. God sent him down. And that should clarify the whole issue about nuzul. But I'll tell you more than that. Why should Allah say that He made the iron descend? Now, if you look far and wide, throughout the human history, the most beneficial ore which was discovered by man was iron. Talk of gold and silver and anything. Nothing made civilization move forward as the ore of iron. So among all the minerals, iron is the best and most beneficial. Among all the animals, al-anam are the most beneficial for mankind. Now you understand the meaning?
Yes.
Among all the books, divine revelations are the best. So they are made to descend. Prophets of Allah. Hadhrat Muhammad Rasulullah is the best. So he's the only one picked out to be made object of this word nuzul. Inshallah. They don't understand this. So Hadhrat Muhammad Rasulullah prophesied of the future Imam exactly as he himself was mentioned in the Holy Quran, not as dangling from the heaven. And also it proved that of all the Aimma which will be born after Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah, he would be the best, because he would be the most beneficial. This is the meaning of Nuzul. After that, if somebody doesn't agree, let him not agree, but then he will have to disagree with the whole Quran. One little thing of this. What we read in the Holy Quran is وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ يَقِينًا بَلْ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ. They said, see, God has lifted him. Where to? إِلَيْهِ, not إِلَى السَّمَاءِ. رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ, to himself. Where was God when Jesus was being crucified? Somewhere else? نَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْكُم مِّنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. How could his body move in any direction? Because anywhere he looked, God was there. أَيْنَمَا تَوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. And he is in the heaven and on the earth. So God says, I lifted him towards myself, which means only in status, that I brought him closer. I brought him nearer to myself. Why this? You see, people say, Maulvis say, that this shows that God, to save him from the enemies, lifted him bodily. All had lifted him bodily to how far away? 100 meters were not enough? 1,000 meters maybe? Lifted him all the way to fourth heaven? What was the need of such anxiety and such panic on the part of God? You see, if he wanted to save him, he could lift him to a few thousand feet above. Man of that time could not reach it. Lifted him there and moved him and said, okay, now try to beat him. All the way to the fourth heaven. If there is time, I could tell you a little joke here now about Joha. Have you heard of Joha?
Yes, he's a friend of ours.
Yes. You know, Joha, once sleeping, in sleep he's pushed his wife with his, he struck his wife with his elbow like this, nudged her in sleep. So she said, "Parade, go away." He got up, got dressed, and started running away. And ran away to the border of the town and ran out of the gate of the town. Some early traveler was coming. So he stopped him and said, "Look here, you're going to this town?" "Yes." "I give you this address, please write it down. Go to that home, knock at the door, and ask the woman of the house, is it enough or you want more?" Still further, or is quite right? That was Joha's understanding. Now they consider God even less than Joha.
Yes.
How far to save him? But when you read the Holy Quran, Allah tells us He never lifted him to the heaven to save him. فَآوَيْنَاهُمَا إِلَىٰ رَبْوَةٍ ذَاتِ قَرَارٍ وَمَعِينٍ. We removed him, we saved him, but not by lifting him to the heaven. by removing him to a place which was mountainous, plateau-like. There was peace on earth, and qararim wa ma'in. There was peace and also fountains which spring from the mountains. Where is this fourth heaven mentioned here? And also God said, I didn't remove him from the danger alone, also his mother. Both went together. Both were saved by me. Which means this must have taken place after the birth. Because to a single mother with child you don't say Huma. It is Ha. Any pregnant woman is never mentioned as Huma. Show me anywhere in Arabic.
No.
Never. So Awena Huma means the child is already born and both are in danger and God removes them from the danger. Not to the fourth heaven or anywhere. Ila rabwatin zati qararin. So the word Rafa, first of all, remember, does not mean physical ascent.
Soul.
Huh?
By soul, just by soul.
That's right. It's the word of nearness. If you insist, no, it means physical ascent. What about the dua baina sajdatain? Those Muslims who say dua, they say warfani, and oh my God, lift me. Does it mean that one sajda is enough? Don't compel me to do the second sajda, lift me from between. While he sits, waiting for the second sajda, he prays warfani. Oh God, one is enough, lift me from here. Stupid thing to translate it like this. It means I have bowed down to the maximum. I can't go beyond. So you are so noble. Al-Ala, I said Rabbi Al-Ala. So be Allah to me and lift me to the heaven in soul, in spirit, not in body. And Hadhrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah has told him this is Hadith Qudsi. إِذَا تَوَاضَعَ الْعَبْدُ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَى السَّمَاءِ السَّابِعِ بِالسِّلْسِلَةِ or بِالسِّلْسِلَةِ. Now what is left there to interpret it differently? Still all ulama know and believe and insist that this is the spiritual rise and not bodily rise.
Except in this case.
In this case, not this case. So whenever the word Rafa is used about the holy people of Ummah, about Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah himself, because every time he prayed, between his two sajdas, he used to say Rafa Warfa. God will listen. Na'udhu billah min zalik. If the meaning is physically lifting, these mullah would have us believe it that Rasulullah prayed all his life. Every time, in every prayer, every time between the two sajdas, every rakah. Rafani Warfa. God said no. Only Jesus. And when God said, I made nuzul of you, he made him appear like ordinary human being born out of a mother. And when he said about Jesus, he meant descent bodily. So Jesus is their most beloved prophet. All meaning which appear to establish his supremacy are words who are translated to his advantage. All words the same when applied to Hazrat Muhammad ﷺ are translated differently. Do they belong to Jesus or to Hazrat Muhammad ﷺ?
Yes,
And exceeds everything else.
No.
Excels everything else.
No.
This is why among the prophets he is the only one.
No. Yes.